There is one country on this planet that has never been conquered. Not by Alexander, not by Genghis Khan, not by the British Empire, not by the Soviet Union, not by the United States. This is why they call it the graveyard of empires. Before we talk about the wars, you need to understand something. Afghanistan isn't just a country. It's a fortress built by nature itself. Look at the map. The Hindu Kush Mountains run right through the heart of the country. Peaks reaching over 7,000 meters. Narrow passes that turn entire armies into single-file targets. In winter, these passes are completely blocked by snow. In summer, the heat in the valleys can kill you just as fast. It's right in the middle of everything, between Persia, India, Central Asia and China. Every empire that wanted to control Asia had to go through Afghanistan, and that's where their problems started. Let's start with the greatest conqueror in history, Alexander the Great. By 330 BC, Alexander had already crushed the Persian Empire. Egypt bowed to him. Babylon opened its gates. He was unstoppable. Then he entered Afghanistan. What he expected was another quick victory. What he got was 3 years of hell. The Afghans didn't fight him in open battle. They knew they'd lose. Instead, they disappeared into the mountains. They attacked his supply lines. They ambushed his soldiers in narrow passes. Then they vanished. Alexander couldn't pin them down. He couldn't find a king to surrender. There was no king. Afghanistan was a land of tribes, and every single one of them fought independently. He eventually pushed through to India, but he left behind thousands of dead soldiers and garrisons that were constantly under attack. The moment Alexander died, every piece of Afghan territory he conquered slipped away overnight, and this became the pattern for the next 2,000 years. But here's what most people get wrong about Afghanistan. It's not just about the mountains. There's a second reason empires fail here. And honestly, it's even more important than the geography. We'll get to that in a moment. Fast forward almost 2,000 years. The most powerful empire the world has ever seen decides to invade Afghanistan. The British Empire. In 1839, the British sent 20,000 soldiers into Kabul. They took the city easily. They installed their own puppet king. They thought they'd won. They hadn't. Within 2 years, the Afghan tribes united, something they almost never do, and launched a massive uprising. The British were forced to retreat from Kabul in January 1842, 20,000 soldiers and civilians marching through frozen mountain passes. Only one person made it out alive. One, Dr. William Brydon, riding a dying horse into Jalalabad. The British tried twice more after that, in 1878 and 1919, each time the same result. They could take the cities, but they could never hold the countryside. The mountains always won. The tribes always fought back. And this is the second reason I promised you. It's not just the mountains, it's the people. Afghanistan has never been one unified nation in the way we think about countries. It's Pashtuns, Tajiks, Hazaras, Uzbeks, dozens of ethnic groups. You can't conquer Afghanistan because there's no single leader to defeat. There's no capital that controls everything. Even if you take Kabul, you've taken nothing. The real Afghanistan is in the valleys, in the villages, in the mountains. And those people would rather die than submit to an outsider. Now let's talk about a superpower with the most brutal military machine of the 20th century, the Soviet Union. On Christmas Day 1979, Soviet tanks rolled across the Afghan border. They brought 100,000 soldiers, helicopter gunships, jets and tanks, and for 10 years they threw everything they had at Afghanistan. But the Mujahideen, the Afghan resistance fighters, used the exact same tactics that worked against Alexander 2,300 years earlier. Hide in the mountains, attack supply convoys, disappear, repeat. The Soviets couldn't control anything beyond the main roads and cities. Every time they cleared a valley, the fighters came back. Every single time. By 1989, the Soviet Union pulled out. 15,000 Soviet soldiers dead, over 1 million Afghan civilians killed, and 2 years later, the Soviet Union itself collapsed. Afghanistan didn't just beat the Soviets, it helped destroy them. And then, it happened again. After September 11, 2001, the United States invaded Afghanistan with the most technologically advanced military in human history. Drones, satellites, special forces, night vision, precision bombs. They removed the Taliban from power in weeks, the fastest military victory anyone had ever seen. But then came the occupation. And the same 2,000-year-old pattern repeated itself. The US controlled the cities, the Taliban controlled the countryside, American soldiers patrolled in armored vehicles on paved roads. The Taliban moved freely through mountain passes that hadn't changed since Alexander's time. 20 years. $2 trillion. 2,400 American soldiers killed. And in August 2021, the Taliban took Kabul back in 11 days. The most expensive war in history ended the exact same way every other Afghan war ended. The invaders went home, and Afghanistan stayed Afghanistan. So why does every empire fail against Afghanistan? 3 reasons. 1. The geography. Mountains that make conventional armies useless. Passes that turn into death traps. Terrain that favors the defender, every single time. 2. The people. A tribal society with no central power to conquer. 3. And this is the big one. Time. Every empire has a deadline. Their soldiers get tired. Their people back home lose patience. Their money runs out. But the Afghans? They live there. They're not going anywhere. They can fight for 10 years, 20 years, 100 years. It doesn't matter. Alexander learned this. The British learned this. The Soviets learned this. America learned this. The graveyard of empires doesn't kill you with one blow. It just waits until you give up. If this changed the way you see history, hit subscribe. I break down the stories they never taught you in school.